Today on our Divorce Literacy podcast series, we have with us Mr. Matthew Dolan of Dolan Family Divorce Lawyers. Thank you for joining us today, Matthew.
Yep, absolutely.
A little bit about Matthew. He is the owner of Dolan Divorce Lawyers.
Yep.
You're a Connecticut-based firm, and you focus exclusively on family matters, including mediation, collaborative divorce, custody, child support, and a few others in there as well. You yourself handle many of the high asset cases. You and your firm have received numerous awards. There's a whole list of awards on your website there, and I won't go through and list them all. We will share your bio when we share this recording, so that everything will be listed there. Matthew, I was hoping you can tell us a little bit about your firm and what made you decide to focus strictly on family law matters.
Yeah, so we started our firm about 10 years ago. I started it with my brother. We used to be Dolan and Dolan, where we're, handling, when we started, we handled family and personal injury and criminal matters. With time we got rid of criminal and we were still doing family and personal injury. And then we split out into two separate firms, Dolan Divorce Lawyers and Dolan Injury Lawyers. My brother and I were still business partners. Dolan and Dolan owns both of those two entities. So we're still partners, but we just split it out just because of the two different practice areas. What was your other question?
You must really enjoy the family aspect, though. I mean, you've been doing it for a long time, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got into it. I originally did, when I came out of law school, I thought I wanted to do personal injury. I was working at a general practice firm and I was doing more of the personal injury work. And I didn't find it particularly meaningful. It's just not for me, as far as like getting people financial compensation for injuries. It's totally valid. And, I think people who are injured deserve compensation. It's just, didn't
resonate with you.
It didn't resonate. I wasn't excited to get people money for their injuries. It wasn't my thing. So because it was a general practice firm, I had the opportunity to try some different areas of law. And my father he's a family law judge, but he practiced law, doing family law for 30 years in the New Haven area. So I ended up, he had some people he knew that he would, going through a divorce, and he would just have them call me. So it kind of organically, because our firm was general practice, I could test out some of those family law cases, and I just gravitated towards it more. I found it meaningful, people going through a really difficult time in their lives, and helping them kind of unwind the process of unwind their marriage, essentially, and solving the problems that need to be solved so that they can move on to the next step in their lives.
Very good. Very good. Are you primarily a litigator? Do you do mediation? Do you do collaborative? What's your focus?
So honestly, right now, I'm kind of stepping back I'm more like managing our business. We have 17 lawyers, and that comes with a whole lot of work that has to be done, basically, and just thinking about the bigger picture of our firm and trying to, in the future, we'll probably expand into other states and really continuing to grow our presence in Connecticut. We've kind of expanded exponentially over the last, it's just been gradual since we started 10 years ago, but we're really getting to a point where I just don't have the time.
Sure.
Plus litigation to me, it's not for everybody. It's stressful, and it's meaningful for sure. And I believe in the work that we do wholeheartedly. It's just I don't love being in court. It's just kind of stressful.
I understand. Yes, I've been there myself, and it was very stressful. And I can imagine for you guys, it must be tough to remove yourself from the situation. Mentally,
I've become better at that with age and experience, but it's just handling a full caseload, and especially trying to run a business simultaneously, it's just not super sustainable, really. So.
Understood. But there are members of your team, and they each handle the different aspects of.
We handle pretty much every aspect of family law. We have litigation people who all they do is litigation, handle custody, obviously, child support, prenups, We have people who do collaborative and mediation. So really all the different areas of law.
Very good.
Within family.
If we could talk a little bit about the client experience for the first question here. If somebody is looking into your firm and wants to maybe reach out to you or to another member of your team, what are some of the things that you think they should be considering in the process as they kind of get started down this path?
Yeah, I think it's really, obviously you want to partner up with an attorney who's, your personality kind of jives with them, and, they have the same approach as you. Like our firm personally, we kind of, we try to keep things as amicable as possible. And we try to work collaboratively with the other side whenever possible. Obviously, sometimes on the other side, there might be a very unreasonable lawyer or a very unreasonable, litigant, and it's kind of impossible to work with them. And then at that point, it's just like, all right, I guess we're having a trial, or I guess this is, but we're not like your pit bulls. I don't, I think that approach, some people want that. They really want to go to war. That's not our style. We're not, that is stressful to me. And, I think the people under us, I have the feeling that you can do a lot of damage by taking that pit bull approach. Sometimes you have a pit bull on the other side, and you just, I try not to give it, I try not to just like escalate things and have two pit bulls fighting one another. It's like at the end of the day, if you can't reach an agreement, if the other side's not going to be reasonable, fine. I'm not going to like fight with you like crazy. We'll just, we'll go in front of a judge and put on, tell them what we think is fair and reasonable, and hopefully, the judge sides with us. So it's really just finding the style and personality type that you work well with. So some people want to go to war, and you find that kind of lawyer, and others want to try to keep it amicable and, find somebody who fits with that approach.
And it's good to find somebody that matches your personality and that you're comfortable with, because you're going to be sharing a lot of personal information with this person. So it's important to have that trust bond.
Yeah, exactly. It's sharing that information, and they're really, they're acting on your behalf. I mean, obviously you're giving input, but they're an extension of you when they're talking to the court, and they're talking to the other side. So you want to make sure you have somebody that you're comfortable working with, and you feel comfortable having them speak on your behalf.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Any memorable cases that you have had in your past that really kind of impacted you, that you carry with you as you are building your business, things that have been, monumental for you in your career, whether negative or positive?
Yeah. I don't know how much I can ethically get into specifics, but there's been some, there's been cases where I had a client who's living in another state, and his child was living primarily with mom here in Connecticut, and a child really was in a bad situation, and you could just tell that the mom had mental health issues, and it just wasn't good. So we had been fighting for years to try to get my client at least more visitation. Realistically, like, it's very difficult to flip a kid from living in Connecticut to moving halfway across the country. Courts just like to maintain the status quo, but it never sat well with me. I always had the sense like this kid is in a bad situation. It's not gonna, he's gonna be messed up growing up if he's in this environment. So, eventually there was an incident that happened that, did rise to that level of, warranting a change in custody, and my client getting primary custody in the state where he lived. And, that was just very, of course, upsetting and not good for this kid to be in, to have an incident happen where, it warrants a change in custody. Obviously, that's not a great environment. You don't want a kid to be put in that incident, in a situation like that. But I think at the end of the day, it was just, that happened, and kid's in a much better place right now, where, it's kind of a relief to know that he's gonna be able to grow up with, with the parent who can nurture him and raise him in a, just a better environment where he has a higher likelihood of success as an adult. So that, that was one that was particularly impactful for me, and really, gave me the sense, sometimes when you're dealing with these cases, it's just like, oh my God, like this is,
Yeah.
we're fighting over the pots and pans, and what are we doing? And it can be frustrating. But when you step back and, you have a case like that, you really realize this is important work, and you really help people. And it's,
it makes it all worth it for sure.
It's important work again. So.
Yeah. And you stayed persistent with it over the time period. And
yeah, which can be hard. You can burn out on these cases.
I'm sure.
That is just like, I can't keep fighting the same fight. But this one, we eventually got the change that we needed.
Well, I hope that the child is still doing well.
Yeah, he is.
That's great. That's great. I appreciate you sharing that. If somebody is interested in getting in touch with you or a member of your team, how do you guys like to be contacted from new clients?
Yeah, you can just call our, if you just do a Google search for Dolan Divorce Lawyers, you can check out our website. You can either schedule an appointment directly on our website, or you'll see our phone number on there, and you can give us a call.
Okay. We'll also share all that information, like I said, in the body of the email, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to share your preference on that.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Any last minute thoughts you want to share with us before we let you go? I know you got a busy day ahead of you.
No, not really. If you're going through a divorce, just, I think it's important to, talk to several different attorneys. Make sure you want to make sure you're comfortable working with the person that you choose. I think that's the most important thing, to make sure that they have a style, an approach that fits with your personality. Sometimes you can just get an attorney and you're not comfortable working, and it's like one thing leads to another, and everything, gets kind of hijacked, and things go in a direction that you didn't think they were going to go in.
Sure.
So it's just working with somebody who you're comfortable with.
Thank you again, Matthew Dolan, Dolan Divorce Lawyers. I appreciate you joining us today.
Yep. Thanks, Mark.